Hello everybody. In our last video we talked about how to factor quadratic equations when they were simple and they didn't have anything in front of the x squared. It was just x squared plus bx plus c. Today there's going to be a number in front, and don't worry, I'm going to teach you a way that it will work and we can factor this. So our objective is that you can factor quadratic trinomials in this new form. Okay, before I show you how to factor this, I want you to remember where this came from. This came from a parentheses, not these parentheses, but it came from two parentheses multiplied to each other, two binomials. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to multiply these together and show you something. So I'm going to do this multiplied to this, and I'm going to get 10x squared. Next, I'm going to do this multiplied to this, and I end up with 8x, 2x times 4. My next move is I'm going to do 3 multiplied to 5x, and that gives me 15x. Lastly, 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Notice what I'm going to do is bring this down, so this is 10x squared, and I'm going to add these together. And when I add those together, I get 23x. And then I'll bring this down, plus 12. Why did I do that? I did that for a reason. To show you that these two middle terms added to get 23x. And we're going to use that strategy to break this apart. So what we're going to do is take the 20x squared and write it down. And we're going to take the 3 and write it down. But more importantly, we're going to take the 17x and break it into two numbers that add up to 17x, just like 8x plus 15x added up to 23. Well, in order to do that, what we need to do is we're going to take a, this is a, and we're going to multiply it to c. So we're going to do a times c and write it right here. So 20 multiplied to 3 is 60. And then we need that to add up to b. And b, in this case, is 17. So, what multiplied to what is 60, but adds to 17? Okay, well, 12 multiplied to 5 is 60, but 12 plus 5 is 17. I'm going to take that knowledge and apply it here. So all I have to do is put some x's with this. So if I want to break 17x apart. So what I'm going to do is say that 12x plus 5x equals 17. Let's check. 12x plus 5x is 17x. So all I did, if you look here, all I did was I'm working backwards. So here's the answer, and then if you go like this, all you're doing is going up a step to find what is that middle, and eventually I'm going to teach you how to take this now and go to the two binomials, two parentheses. So all we did was we took this and we broke it into the middle into two parts. Our next step now is to do something called factor by grouping. I want you to put parentheses around these two and a parentheses around these two. Next, ask yourself, what's the biggest number that can divide 20x squared and 12x? Well, the biggest number that can divide them both will be 4 can divide 20 and 12, and I can take 1x out. So I need to divide this by 4x, and if I do 20 divided by 4, that gives me 5. And if I do x squared take away 1x, I have 1x left over. Next, I'm going to do 12x divided by 4x. The x's cancel, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I end up with 5x plus 3 in my parentheses. I'm going to take this plus sign and bring it down. And now I'm going to ask myself, what's the biggest number that can divide 5 and 3? And you know what? There really isn't one. So the biggest thing you can divide any number by, if you have nothing, it's 1. So all I can do is divide them both by 1. And what's left inside? What's left inside is 5x plus 3. I want you to notice something. These match. These match. One more time. These are the same. They match. They have to. If they don't, we did something wrong. Ready? Final answer. So our final answer is going to be the stuff written in black. Okay? So our final answer is going to be 4x, and we're going to take that plus 1 and put that in a parentheses. So 4x plus 1, and our other parentheses is the one that we wrote twice, 5x plus 3. So if I were to take 4x plus 1 and multiply it to 5x plus 3, I would get this trinomial. All right, we're going to do another example, and remember, what we're doing is we're basically doing FOIL or working backwards to find out what are our two parentheses that make, when we multiply, that we get this addition problem. So first thing I have to do is take A, this is A, and I have to multiply it to C. So 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. It has to add up to B, and B is 5. So what times what is 6 but adds to 5? And the answer will be 2 and 3. Let's check it. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Remember what I do. I write down the 2x squared, and I write down the 3, and what I'm going to do is break this 5x into 2x plus 3x, and it looks like this. 2x plus 3x will equal my 5x. So all I did was I broke the 5x apart. Next step, let's factor by grouping. Put a parentheses here and put a parentheses here. Say to yourself, what's the biggest number that can divide 2 and 2? And that answer is 2. And then say to yourself, can I take an x out of each? And yes, I can. So I'm going to take one x out of each. So I'm going to take an x out of each. And then what's left inside? So I have to divide both of these by 2x. Okay, so when I do 2 divided by 2, I get 1, and 2x's take away 1x, leaves me with just 1x. If you want to put the 1 in front, you can. Now, what's 2x divided by 2x? Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and x divided by x is 1. So now I end up with just x plus 1. Let's factor this side. I'm going to bring my plus sign down. I'll bring that down. And then I'll say, what can I divide 3x and 3 by? I can divide them both by 3. So I'm going to put a 3 here. And then I'm going to do a parentheses. And I have to divide this by 3 and this by 3. So 3x divided by 3 is just x, and 3 divided by 3 is just 1. Hey, hey, look it, they match. And remember how we do our two parentheses. We take the two red ones, okay, so we take 2x, and we take the plus 3. Those go in one parentheses, and whatever we wrote twice, in this case black, we write that in our other parentheses. So if we multiply these together, we would get this. One more example. So again, get ready, put those two parentheses down here, and we're going to take and make our little cross here, and we're going to do a times c, and that has to add up to b. So a is 6, c is 7, so 6 multiplied to 7 is 42, but it has to add to negative 23. So we'll deal with that. No problem there. Well, I know that 2 multiplied to 21 is 42. But so a negative 2 multiplied to a negative 21 will give me positive 42, but I need to be able to add to 23 negative. So negative 2 plus negative 21 does add to negative 23. So I'm going to take that and use that to break apart my negative 23. So instead of saying negative 23n, what I'm going to do is say minus 2n and minus 21n. Once again, all I did was I broke negative 23n apart, so it's negative 2n minus 21n. Now I'm ready to go like this, and I'm going to factor. So, what's the biggest number that can divide 6 and 2? The biggest number that can divide 6 and 2 is 2. And I see an n here and an n here, so I can take one n out. What will be left after I divide this by 2n and I divide this by 2n? So, if I divide this by 2n, I get 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2n's take away 1n is 1n left over. And I have 2n divided by itself, 2n, that gives me 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and n divided by n is 1. And the minus sign stays. Now, here we have something we have to be careful with. Well, what can I divide 7 and 21 by? And the answer there is for sure 7. But, look at this. Remember, this parentheses has to match this one. And there's a positive sign here. So what I'm going to do is divide by a negative 7. And I'll show you why. If I divide negative 21n divided by negative 7, I get a positive 3n. Hey, it matches this. And if I do a positive 7 divided by a negative 7, I get a negative 1, and hey, it matches this. Let's take these two, and I'm going to do 2n minus 7, those are the ones written in black, and the ones written in green will be 3n minus 1. Hey, there are my two binomials, and if you multiply those, you will get this.